friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are asking what is going on in the House of Commons. And what I mean by House of Commons, I mean is what is going on in your life right now. So if you are confused, or if you are just like, I'd like to know the deeper significance of what I'm experiencing right now, whatever it may be, that is what we are looking at today. So we are going to start with the energy check, where we are going to be looking at what is going on in your life right now. What are the energies surrounding you? What circumstances want to come through? If that resonates, you found the right group. If it doesn't, I would try another one. Then we are going to look at why is this happening? After that, we're going to look at what is the deeper purpose of this experience. Then we're going to go into how you can make the best of this situation, use it to your advantage, or if it's a situation you would like to move through, this question will serve as an opportunity to see how you can move through it the quickest. Then we're going to see where you are being led to based upon what's happening right now, and we will finish off with some final guidance. So pretty straightforward, but I'm pretty excited to get into it. So we have 3 different cards and 3 different stones for you to choose from today. So starting with group number 1, we have this first card and this Menilite stone, and it has the number 21 on it. Then for group number 2, we have this second card with pink spiky guy sitting on it, and it has the number 35 on it. And finally, for group number 3, we have this third card that has the number 11 on it, and we have this Lazurite stone. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. Take what resonates, don't let the rest take from you. But with that being said, intro squad, it is time to make a wish and ask a question. So intro squad, my question for you is, can you stick around till the Make-A-Wish for my question? We are just going to be using our Queen Kino's candle, Dreams of You. I'm not sure if she is still selling it, but if she is, feel free to grab one yourself. It is for a good cause. And just go and support her because she's amazing and the best, and I love her, and you'll love her too. I'm going to go ahead now and focus on the candle. If you would like to make a wish with me, feel free to. May yours, mine, and all of our wishes come true. So, intro squad, my question for you today is, what is, and I guess you don't have to reduce it to one, but what are your favorite decks that I use, that you would like to see more of, or just that, you know, that you connect to? And if you don't want to answer that question, then answer me, what decks do you enjoy? I guess that also too, if there's any decks you recommend to me that you want me to add to my collection. It's not like I am already have way too many, but I might look into it. I might get some. I definitely don't get very many this time. And if you've ever asked to send me a deck and you haven't heard from me, first of all, I'm sorry about that. I have 40,000 unread emails, and I am not very good at getting back to them. But I have a disgusting amount of decks. So I try to be discerning with what I get. So that being said, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here and for letting me read for you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in your... Hi there, pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Menilite, also known as Fairy Stone, this is going to be your reading on what is actually going on in your life right now. So the first card you chose is Avowal. We also have Reclaim and the 2 of Pentacles. Okay, so couple of interpretations here. The biggest thing though is that some of you may be on the threshold of entering this. Some of you may already be in this but are trying to figure out what it is, and some of you are feeling an internal like friction or tension and wondering why, and it's because this tension is trying to lead you to this. So what I see here is that you are ready to step into a deeper layer of self, or you're already in the process of doing that now. With a vowel being here, if you've had the experience recently of anything in your life no longer being meaningful or satisfying in the way that it used to be, even if it was something that was really supportive and helpful in the past, I can definitely see that you might be questioning like why things aren't hitting the same for you. I definitely can see here with this reclaim card that you are in this place where you're ready to step into more self energy, and this self energy is so authentic itself on a soul level. So for some of you, you may know what this aspect of self is, and for others you may have no idea. I have a feeling for all of you, whatever you're stepping into, there is an element of soul gifts attached to it. And I feel like with this Two of Pentacles here, it's kind of funny because I feel like this avowal and reclaim are kind of working in tandem, where things are being brought to your attention, things maybe you may not want to realize that are being brought to your attention, where you're like, oh, this thing isn't working anymore. Oh, this pattern of behavior isn't very healthy. Or, oh, my pattern of behavior with this other person, isn't really very helpful. Oh, I really hide myself around this group. Like, there's definitely an energy of authenticity here that you're ready to step into or are yearning for. And there are alchemical processes internally and externally that are supporting you. And with this Two of Pentacles, I feel like at the same time, you're just trying to maintain balance in your regular life. And so you might find, I'm laughing because it's like, man, like life, right? It just keeps on lifing. You might be kind of avoiding your internal work, or just kind of avoiding your internal world in general, which like mood, and really just focusing on keeping busy, or finding that a lot of your attention in the outside world, a lot of your attention is focused in the outside world, and you might be feeling like, am I neglecting myself or something like that? I feel like for a lot of you though, you're just having the experience of, well, I'm just too busy right now, or like there's just a lot going on, so like I haven't really had time to, go within or really do anything spiritual. And I think that might also manifest in ways where you might anxiously think like, am I falling behind, or am I out of alignment? And I think there's also this process of questioning happening where you're starting to recognize where you have to show up in inauthentic ways. And I think that you're in the process of reflecting around that and wondering, is this really meant for me or not? Or is it necessary that I show up in this way or not? I also feel like for some of you, you may already be exploring certain aspects of self, while also having to maintain this facade or persona around other people or around certain groups of people. And so you might feel like you're kind of teetering between two aspects of self here. I can definitely see though as well, for some of you, maybe this process is so turbulent and like chaotic or stressful that you have to really just focus on making sure your everyday life is under control and that you're keeping that in line. What I see for all of you is that what's really happening in your life is that you're ready to step into more authenticity than you ever have and embody more of your soul light than you ever have. So if you are being led to new practices, new ideas, new opportunities, or are even just thinking of new ways you want to change your routine, new things you want to try, all of that is supporting this process that you are entering. And I would say if you are dealing with a lot of internal tension and you have no idea why, and you're like just doing everything the way that you used to, that tension, that stress, that internal energy is really serving as like an alarm to say, hey, we need to look inward because there's all this beautiful magic within us that we're missing because we want things to stay the same. Not saying that you do, but maybe, I think our minds certainly do. Maybe your mind wants things to stay the same or something like that. Ultimately though, you have the opportunity to step into a much deeper level of commitment to yourself and to your authenticity than you ever have. And I think what's really interesting here as well is that you might be finding that if you're further along on this, you might be finding that the process of figuring out what is self-energy and what is authentic to you and what is your soul calling you to might be more complicated or might be more confusing than you thought, or might require more change or more bravery than you anticipated. Ultimately though, this is a really positive process that's happening, even though it might not feel that way. And I feel really called to say for all of you, like, you're not doing anything wrong. And in fact, there's no way you could do anything wrong here, because if you avoid this energy, it's only going to get more intense. So the beautiful thing is that like, you're going to step into these shifts whether you want to or not, because there's just, to try and hold back, it would be literally just way too painful and way too, like eventually it just, you wouldn't be able to sustain it anymore. Like, it would get too exhausting. And yeah, you're a smart cookie. You know how to grow and change. So I'm going to lay out these oracles because they are going to represent the different questions that we are asking to go deeper into this. And while, and I'm also going to shuffle your tarot that we are going to use to clarify. But while I'm shuffling, if you do end up enjoying this reading, if you want to leave me a like, feel free to do so. Thank you to everyone who does that. That's super helpful. Lets me know what you guys want to see more of, and also helps other people who maybe need to see this video as well find it. But if you really want to help me, just letting the ads play in the background for the first 30 seconds is super helpful. I know ads are the worst. I avoid them at all costs, and ironically they are what allow me to do this and do it for free for y'all. But you know, mute it, put it on in the background, scroll on your phone for a second, or do it, and literally anything else. It's super helpful. So thank you to everyone who does that. But I'm gonna go ahead now and shuffle for each of these questions. So why is this actually happening for group 1, Spirit? Why are they experiencing such intensity around shifting into a deeper level of self? Okay, what is the deeper purpose of this experience that group 1 is going through? How can group 1 make the best of this situation? Okay, and where is group 1 being led to? Alrighty, so starting with the first question, why is this happening? We have the Tower and the Influencer. Okay, so this is happening because you have been putting on, okay, whether you realize it or not, you definitely have been putting on a facade in your life that is deeply unsatisfying and also kind of soul crushing for some of you. This is happening because you, well, actually, number one, I do feel like the universe is trying to prevent a Tower moment from happening here, where you kind of realize the hard way that maybe the way you were presenting yourself, or the way that you were living your life, or how you were behaving, whatever that is inauthentic that needs to go about your life. I feel like this is happening because the universe wants you, knows that you're, first of all, knows that you're capable of undergoing these transitions on your own. And also it's happening because the universe wants to avoid a situation where things come to a head because you avoided these energies and the universe has to intervene itself. I definitely think that there's just this theme about being something that you're not, and that leading to and committing to that in a way that leads to disaster, which the universe is helping you avoid. And I don't say that you're going to experience disaster, but I mean, like, the universe is going to protect you from disaster happening by ensuring that this facade cannot remain anymore. And so I feel like for you, part of why this is happening is to make this transition gentler and easier than it would be if the universe just intervened on its own. And also because I feel like you are ready to live life at a deeper, more rich level. And there's a reason why there's such an unsatisfying feeling around your life right now. It's because, you know, you could be engaging with it on a much deeper level, and that starts with you engaging with yourself on a much deeper level. I definitely feel like you've been comparing yourself unnecessarily to, you know, others and to ideals that maybe aren't even human or realistic, that might be leading to certain aspects of inauthenticity. But also I feel like for some of you, this inauthenticity could lead to stem from family, pressure from family or pressure from society. And I feel like this is happening because your soul is much stronger and much more capable of marching to the beat of its own drum than you realize. I feel like your conscious mind might be kind of attached to certain ideals that society or your family upholds, but the reality is that when you're no longer like holding on to them or feeling like you have to be in them, you will recognize that there's a lot of liberation involved in embracing yourself and embracing this change. And I think what you might find as well is that life just moves faster and feels easier because you're not trying so hard to be and do things that aren't for you at least anymore, or that aren't you anymore. So this is happening because it's time, and it's also because you're ready to live life on a deeper level and let go of certain masks or certain ways of living that just aren't for you, at least anymore. So what's the deeper purpose of this experience? So we have the Ace of Pentacles and hummingbirds. So I feel like the purpose of this experience is to start, first of all, this could be related to career, where you could be changing yourself and your life in ways that set you up for a different career, or that set you up to be self-employed, or that set you up to have more influence in your career, where like people might be more drawn to you, or people might really respond to the authentic version of you in ways that other people don't, and in ways that previous versions of you others responded to less. I definitely think, though, this is happening because you're already in the process of creating a lot of deeper foundations that will be sustaining and supportive for your life. But I feel like if you're in a place where you feel lost, or you feel like you're overextending yourself, or you're just like, why am I at this place in life? Like, I thought I would be further. Or even if you have a level of stability, maybe you still feel unstable. I think the deeper purpose of this time is to find true stability, and also to find nourishment in life through shifting internally, you know, and learning what actually nourishes you now, what actually supports you now. But on top of that, I feel like the deeper purpose of this is to also improve your financial situation. It's quite possible that whatever you have been doing that isn't serving you anymore, it's taking from you in a way that is making it really hard for you to stay balanced, or that might literally be taking from you in a financial sort of sense. And so I think that the deeper purpose for this happening is, like, if you've been praying, you know, to make more money, or to find the right career for you, or to just feel more abundant or feel more stable and secure, that's why all of this is happening. This internal change is the catalyst to the external change you want to see. And actually, what's really interesting is the external change is going to move a lot more quickly once you have moved through this internal change, which is interesting because usually Pentacles, they're pretty slow. But I think the hardest part for you is doing the internal changes, because those internal changes will require external shifts where you'll have to change, maybe change how you show up in the world, or, you know, have the courage to say no to certain things, or make changes that maybe not everyone will be on board with, or that not everyone will agree with. And it'll be up to you to learn to accept that. I also think as well, your day-to-day routine might be unsustainable, or at least unsustainable for the version of the person you're becoming. And so part of the deeper purpose of this as well is to create a sustainable day-to-day life for yourself that fits the newer version of yourself that you're becoming, and that also supports the life that you're trying to build, and that doesn't instead take away from it. I think that in general, though, this is happening as well in the most efficient and quick way possible. And I think, like, too, like, one thing the universe wants you to know is that if you continue to avoid this, like we've kind of already talked about this, like, that feeling of pressure will get more and more intense, and life will feel like it's moving slower and slower, and doing what you used to do before will just get harder and harder. And there's a beauty in that. Even though it might be stressful and you might be feeling like you're failing, you're not failing at all. If anything, the universe is just like, hey, this ain't it for you anymore. And when you start making those shifts, you're going to find life starts speeding up again. Things are easier. You have more energy. And not only that, but you start to see opportunities. You might receive opportunities you didn't have before, maybe because you're putting yourself out there differently. But also, I just think that life is shifting in a way where you're learning to live for yourself more than everyone around you. And you're learning to live for yourself in ways that go beyond just how you think you need to show up and what you feel your purpose is. There's like a self-care element to this that's really beautiful, where you're integrating this understanding of the nuance of self-care and the nuance of authenticity, where you're realizing, like, or you will realize that in stepping into this unknown and trying these new things, not only will new opportunities be everywhere, but I think you'll also have the opportunity to see where maybe in the past certain practices or certain things that once used to be really supportive for you, you might see that maybe they're too surface level for you now, or they're too they don't go deep enough, or maybe they take too long. I definitely think there's an efficiency element to this, where what's really happening in your life is the universe is trying to help you up level in the most efficient way possible so that you can get on with it and live life with more freedom and live life feeling better in a way that maybe you haven't in a while. So let's see how you can work with this energy and make the best of this situation. So for that, we have the King of Wands in reverse, and we have Hagalaz. So the universe is kind of speaking to the fact that in making these changes, there might be some turbulence or unwanted situations, difficult conversations. And I actually think with this King of Wands in reverse, maybe part of the reason why you've avoided making some of these changes is because you've wanted to avoid the wrath of someone that these changes are connected to. I just got a lot of things all at once, forgive me. If this King of Wands is you, your ego might be feeling a little bit bruised during this time. And if that's the case, I feel like you're being called to surrender to that without self-flagellating or punishing yourself. It may just be that you need to kind of surrender to this time and see what it has to show you. But if this is related to someone outside of you, first of all, I don't know what the laws are in other countries. But if you are in the United States, you might want to look at and see if you are in a one-party or two-party consent state when it comes to recording others. If you are in a one-party consent state, you can record, like audio record other people, I guess video too, without their consent. If you're in a two-party state, you need the other party's consent in order to do that. But if this person is particularly verbally abusive, or you would just like to have record of how they speak to you, especially if how they speak to you is really deflating, or if they've been kind of domineering or kind of a bully in your life, this change is going to get this person out of your life. And actually, if this isn't an outside person, I would say that part of what is leaving your life is self-bullying. You might bully yourself without even realizing it, or be too hard on yourself without even realizing it, or take on the voices of past bullies that keep you feeling hurt and unworthy, and just make it harder to step into that authenticity. I feel like you're being called to work with this energy by cutting ties with any bullying energy around you or within you, but also surrendering to the discomfort that might come from these changes. Like, you know, setting boundaries with a person like what I'm describing, it might really be uncomfortable to hear what they have to say. You might just want to block them, or, you know, whatever you have to do. But really, there's kind of this energy of there's going to be a little bit of turbulence as you do make these changes, because it seems like there are certain things that just don't want to leave your life because they're attached to you. And in accepting the discomfort of cutting them out, it just might be hard to deal with what happens as a result. But that's where you're really being called to surrender and trust in what's occurring, because when it's no longer in your life, or when it's no longer a factor in the way it once was, you're going to realize how destructive that influence was to begin with. So I feel like for those of you where this is a more internal influence, you're probably going to be a little bit shocked and appalled when you kind of see for yourself maybe how much you have been harming yourself with your own inner dialogue, or with your own subconscious beliefs about yourself without even realizing it. You might come to awareness about how maybe you've been beating yourself up or putting yourself down because, wow, I have this deep insecurity here, or wow, I don't feel good enough here. Like, it might be really uncomfortable, but I think the goal here is for you to step into more confidence when it comes to navigating the unknown, because not only are you totally capable of doing that, but also I feel like in navigating the unknown, sometimes when we navigate the unknown, we're going to run into things that we don't like, and you might not know how, if this is someone outside of you, how they might react to you, and you might be really afraid of that. Definitely feel free to call for backup or reinforcements if you feel like you need them. Don't let this person, if it is a person, like, I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is like, make sure you have support before you do something if you know that you need that. But really, to work with this energy, it's kind of just really about surrendering to it, and also not letting your ego make assumptions about what things mean. And accepting the discomfort and letting go of certain identities and labels and beliefs about yourself that maybe you've had. And then also accepting the discomfort that comes in taking action towards influences or people that might really put you down or not treat you right. And accept the discomfort that comes from them being upset. I promise you that discomfort is way better than the discomfort that comes from them beating down on you. Oh my god, I just remembered the show Bully Beatdown. Did anyone ever watch that? Like, classic MTV. I miss the classic MTV shows like Next and Parental Control. Oh, Silent Library. Literally all classics. That being said, let's go ahead and see where this change is leading you to. So we have the 7 of Swords and Love. Okay, so this is beautiful. This is leading you to a place of seeing deception, manipulation, and illusions internally and externally much sooner than you did in the past. But also, you are being led to a place of love for yourself, for the world, and for the type of life you are living that maybe you used to feel about your current life, or you used to feel about your current situation that you no longer do. You are also being led to a place where you are realizing that it is safe to walk away from certain things, to let go of certain things if it means deeper love for self, if it means authenticity. You're literally just going from a place of fear to love. And maybe you've already made that transition in certain areas of your life, but in the ones where you haven't, that's where this is happening. I also can see, though, that you're stepping into a level of authenticity and alignment where, you know, if you've been trying to manifest love, or if you've been trying to manifest like a romantic relationship, that's coming in for you. If you are basically what your heart is yearning for, that is where you are being led to. And what you're also being led to is the realization of how your mind may have been dissuading you or creating fearful ideas within you that were never true to begin with. I feel like you're going to learn a lot about yourself through this process. And when you come out of it, you're going to be like, first of all, you're going to see inauthenticity in others a lot more easily. And also, I feel like you're going to care a whole lot less about others that can't support you in these changes, that might feel betrayed by the changes that you're making, because you know you're making them from a place of love. And it's okay if they don't understand that, but you're recognizing like you're doing what's most loving for you. And in that process, they have the opportunity to, if they want to, figure out what's most authentic for them, what would be most loving towards them. Ultimately, though, I feel like you're just being led to a place where your mind doesn't run the show anymore, where you're just living life in a deeper, more fulfilling, satisfying way. And I feel like you're literally just going to be saying the words like I love more. And I guess if English is not your first language, whatever I love is in your language, like you're just going to be loving life, loving yourself, loving where you're at a whole lot more. And it's really going to come down to, because you are willing to see where your internal world was guiding you. Because for some of you, you already have an idea of what these things are that you're being called to step into. And for others, I feel like you have no idea what these things are. And it's going to require some trial and error and some willingness to just be open and see what happens. And ultimately in that process, you will realize like, oh, it is safe to step into the unknown in ways that I was afraid of in the past. And oh, actually, when I do step into more resonant energies and more resonant behaviors, more resonant aspects of self, I'm not afraid of other people betraying me, or I'm not afraid of other people misunderstanding me, because I understand myself. And that's, at least at this point in my life, and that's enough. I definitely think you're headed to a lot more love in every aspect, and I feel like you'll just be able to like take a sigh of relief and just be in a place where it's like, man, moving through that process was so worth it, because I'm so much happier than I used to be. So I hope that made sense. I know it's kind of vague, but that's mainly because, like, for all of you, the aspects of self, the things that you're letting go of, all of that is different for each of you. But realistically, what's happening is an alchemical process that is forcing you to surrender and look at what parts of you internally and externally no longer serve you, or just no longer are supporting your soul path, that are not resonating for you, and stepping into a version of yourself that you love, stepping into behaviors and activities that you love more deeply, and looking at your relationships too, and seeing, you know, where are the ones that I can be my true self. That's going to be really important for you. So we're going to go ahead and just finish this reading off with a final guidance card. So For group number 1, please, Spirit, what guidance do you have for group number 1 moving forward, please? Okay. Okay. So we have Penguin. Pace yourself, specialization, choosing what matters. I commit, connect, and create. So yeah, I think that's beautiful, your affirmation. That's definitely what this energy is about. You are healing your relationship to conscious mothering and finding ways to express the mother energy within. Whether there are children around you or not, you have a talent and higher purpose that you can develop if you so choose. Trust that any sacrifices made for that soul expression will be worth it. Upgrade old fantasies to more authentic dreams and inspirations that feed your soul now. Focus on what matters most to your heart. Embrace the depths within your soul. Give yourself permission to commit totally to your higher purpose, and you will make exponential progress. So yeah, I mean, this is giving into your depths. And yeah, I mean, I think that'll do it. Like, I think that hopefully this makes sense. And I guess for some of you specifically, mother energy is one of the things that's been inhibiting you. Hopefully you can find healing around that, or just recognize what isn't yours to carry. But ultimately, what is going on is an opportunity for you to step into a higher level of your soul's purpose, to shed the shackles of self-doubt, self-flagellation, and create from a place of love rather than a place of fear, and just make your life even more authentic and meaningful, and serve in more satisfying and deep ways that not only will you love, but that others will love receiving. And I love that for you. So group 1, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. I really hope this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background for the first 30 seconds at least. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me, show appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Definitely leave a comment, let me know how it resonates. I try my best to read and respond to as many comments as I can, unless I am in a particularly anxious state. Then I might avoid it just to protect my own head. But when I'm good, I do my best to respond to as many as I can. It does not help that I'm an introvert and get drained by social interactions easily, but I do my best. If not, just know I am so grateful that you are here. Other ways, merch, social media, candles, all that jazz. You could share my videos with a friend. You could check out a video with an extended. You can watch other videos of mine. You can just send me love and good vibes. I'm sending you those right back. I love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the pink spiky guy and this Astra card, this is going to be your reading on what is actually going on right now. So your first card is Astra. We have the King of Swords, and we have versatility. What's going on right now? What's going on right now is that you're a new you, baby, and I love to see it. It's kind of interesting because this feels like a progression from the first group. So I guess if you were drawn to the first group, there might be connecting messages there. But what's going on is that you are either already in this process, or you're about to step into this process where you are feeling quite different mentally and emotionally because you are stepping into new energies. Things that once were quite challenging are now all of a sudden much more manageable. And I feel like you are at this place now where your mental faculties have gotten to a point where you're able to make choices for yourself that align with your future goals rather than immediate desires. I also feel like you are in this process where you're refining your mental body, because there are times where because really what's going on is you are stepping into a brand new era of self, and in that process you are finding yourself open to experiences, behaviors, and ways of thinking, and how you allow your heart and mind in that interplay of the two, how you allow it to form your decision-making skills. I feel like your only pitfall that you will be running into, or that you have been running into, is that you may get into this strict rigidity where you have a hard time giving yourself leeway and freedom as you step in to these new experiences, these new parts of self. I feel like with this versatility card being here, it's definitely saying that there is no one thing you need to be or one way you need to go about things during this time. It's more so a trial and error process, and also a realization or an opportunity to recognize, oh, I can do harder things than I thought. Oh, I can say no to things. Oh, I can choose differently. Experiences where you thought you had no choice in the past, things were out of your control, you're starting to see where choice is yours, even if you didn't see it previously. And I feel like as you're making these changes, you might want to settle into a place of rigidity where you're like, well, this is what worked, so I need to do this. Or like, an example would be like, let's say, you struggle with food cravings, and in the past there wasn't even time for you to think between the craving and feeding the craving, and now you're at a place where you can ask yourself, am I truly hungry, or am I just bored? Is there a more nourishing option that I can choose, or is this a craving I should honor? So that is this a craving I should honor would be an excellent example of versatility in this situation. But if you were being rigid, where you're like, no, it's just a craving, it'll go away, no, I don't need it, you might enter a state of deprivation, or you might miss out on the value of seeing that it's okay at times to, you don't have to be one thing all the time. And I know you know that, but I feel like when it comes to your mind and your heart are learning how to trust one another, because your heart is quite powerful and can lead you in powerful ways, but your mind is learning to get on board with that. And I also think your mind is better at, I feel like the conscious ego part of you might feel shame around certain aspects of who you are, or just certain, putting this in air quotations, flaws or deficiencies you may feel you have, that make it harder for you to be kind to yourself, or that make it so you make decisions from a place of shame or deprivation rather than true compassion and support and well-being for yourself. So I feel like what's happening right now is you're actually getting to get the mind and heart on board in a way where your mind serves the heart in powerful ways, but it also is able to cut through intense emotion or intense desire and see whether that emotion or desire is something that needs to be processed, expressed, honored, or if it needs to be balanced, or if it needs to be addressed in a more concrete way. It's like you're making the best decisions for yourself and choices that maybe you always knew you should make, but now you actually can act on them and make them. I also feel like life might feel a bit trippy right now, because you might have cravings for foods you never tried before, or it makes me think of me where there was a point in my time in my life, basically college, where I ate so badly for so long that I literally started to crave vegetables because I just hadn't eaten anything healthy in that amount of time. And I was like, wow, if you really just stick to what doesn't work, eventually you'll start to crave what does. I learned that. And maybe that's an experience you'll have. But I think in general, you're starting to learn about your mind and your heart's pitfalls or self-limiting belief systems that maybe hold you back, and also where you have been too rigid and that has kept out opportunities to shift, opportunities to change, just ways to live that you hadn't even thought of before. Like, I think that's actually one big thing here is part of what's going on is you are seeing pathways, opportunities, and like even just like things that you want to do, things you already do, ways to do them differently. And it's just expanding and opening your mind, and also just helping you recognize like where your self-limiting beliefs have been holding you back, and also where your mind can intervene, and where your mind can intervene when the heart is leading you astray or leading you in a direction you don't want to go, or causing you to act or behave in ways that don't align with you, and also get the heart to intervene when the mind is doing that. And I think actually what's interesting is that it's easier to ignore the heart if it's trying to intervene, but the fail-safe that's occurring here is that your mind is going to pay attention to when your mind is neglecting your heart. So you're going to have these moments where you're like, wait a second, I think I'm kind of steamrolling my heart space right now. Let me see what that is saying here. And I think you're really just in this process of data collection right now and synthesis of that data, where you are just learning more about yourself and more about what you're capable of and what's possible for you. And in that process, I do feel like the life, like your everyday life, might be a bit chaotic in the world around you. And I think one of the things you might struggle with during this time is a lot of the societal rigidity around certain beliefs, and just societal rigidity in general. That might be something that you kind of struggle with. And also it might be that there are areas of life where you want to have some level of rigidity because there is so much flux and change around you. But really what this is about is allowing you to go with the flow when you can, and give yourself opportunities to be versatile and to try things differently. Even if the way you've always done them has worked, maybe there's a way that's even better and more efficient. What's happening is life is opening up in new ways, and you're opening up in new ways, and you have the opportunity to have a more cohesive internal response to yourself and to the external world, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to lay out your oracles and shuffle your tarot, and we're going to get in to the next part of your reading. So if you do end up enjoying this reading, thank you for leaving me a like and for letting the ads play for the first 30 seconds. I know ads suck. That's why you mute them and like scroll on your phone, so that you don't have to be advertised to, but I can still be supported. So thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, just subscribing, super helpful, commenting, all that stuff, very helpful. So thank you to everyone who does that. But we are going to start by asking, why is this process happening? Why is group 2 in this process of change? And here's the thing too, is I feel like you might be like, I just feel like you might feel suspicious of yourself. Like, why am I all of a sudden able to do these things? Like, was I just never able? Like, we'll get there. What is the deeper purpose of this experience group 2 is undergoing? How can group 2 make the most of this situation? And where is group 2 being led to? Okay, right. So let's start with, why is this happening? And for that, we have the Two of Pentacles and the Cold Shoulder. This is happening because it's time for you to have more balance in your life. And also, there are things that are creating imbalance in your life that you're ready to say no to, that you've been holding on to out of obligation, a heart obligation, that your mind is like, yeah, we need to cut this off. It could really be anything. But realistically, one interesting thing is that the Two of Pentacles came out in the previous reading. But this is happening because you're ready to simplify and make your life a bit easier and create balance from an internal place. And I think actually one of the reasons why this is happening is because you don't need external validation anymore, at least in the same way you used to. And also, you are no longer being, or you're meant to no longer be persuaded by the needs of others in ways that cause you to engage in self-betrayal. I definitely think with the Two of Pentacles being here as well, there are shifts that this time is invoking in you that will make, number one, like your everyday life more efficient and fluid, but also you need free time. And I don't know if you have any right now because of you giving away the whatever free time you do have to others that are asking for it. Maybe some of you already recently said no to someone or something and got the experience of like a cold shoulder or someone like being upset with you for that. And I honestly feel like for most of you, it probably brought on this like righteous indignation where you were like, I don't even owe anything from you. And wow, I'm glad I actually didn't help you because like, I can't believe you treat me that way. And you might be realizing, oh, you're learning the difference between being taken advantage of and serving from a genuine place. I definitely think this is happening too because life wants you to expand beyond where you've been. And I know you want to do that as well. And you consciously say you want that. But I think, the changes that you've needed to make are a bit overwhelming. But essentially this is happening because you've reached a point of stability where you are where you are ready to step in to changes in ways where you're easily able to make choices that maybe were challenging in the past. You're able to say no to what isn't to you, and you're able to walk away from ways of living, ways of being, things that you do in your everyday life that don't work for you anymore. And I think that anything that isn't serving you in this process as you step into more newness, I think that you might find that any antagonistic energies or obligations in your world are going to naturally fall away, or you're just going to easily say no to them because it's going to click in your mind like, oh, this is one of those things that has been making it hard for me to trust myself, to take time for me, so on and so forth. So let's see what the deeper purpose of this experience is. So we have the Two of Swords and Plane. So I think the deeper purpose of this experience is to help you actually trust your intuition and actually trust what your body is telling you. The Two of Swords is all about overthinking when in reality we know what's up. This is about journeying to the next place in life where what once were setbacks and pitfalls and barriers and obstacles, you're now flying right over, and they're so small you can't even see them. This is definitely a time where you're no longer going to allow external opinion to outweigh what your own gut and what your own truth is telling you. I definitely think that overthinking in general, especially around things where it's like realistically you know, but maybe you're afraid to do that thing, or maybe, you know, you're still uncertain, like you feel like it's hard to trust yourself. This process is helping you let go of that and realize, like, even if I make a choice that ends up not working out, I'll grow and learn from it, or I can always change my mind and choose something different. Like, I think a lot of the pressure around making certain decisions, or pressure around not wanting to disappoint others, or pressure around not wanting to say or do the wrong thing, that's dissipating, and you're actually going to find freedom in, oh, I can say and do the wrong thing and actually it's fine. And when I get out of that like paralysis of analysis, then I can actually just live more, and actually, oh, I can move out of certain cycles and certain places within myself that I don't want to be in anymore a lot more easily when I just give myself permission to figure it out as I go. The deeper purpose of this is to really allow you to take action without overthinking, because you know yourself better than you think, and also you can handle much more than you realize. And I think that also one of the things that you're meant to learn to handle is radical permission to do things just for the sake of you. I feel like that's something that maybe you struggle with a bit. But also, I feel like if you are someone who does have very regimented schedules, or like regimented ways of doing things, or maybe you don't technically have like on paper something very regimented, but you're stuck in habits that you know, like, you just don't want anymore, or that just like take you away from your spirituality or things like that. The deeper purpose is to get you away from that and really see clearly in a way where you can cut out and get rid of what doesn't serve you, and just be more balanced in general and reach new heights, which I love for you. So let's see what you can do to make the best of this situation, or use this situation to your advantage. We have the Four of Wands, and we have Minaj. So Nicki Minaj, that's not a thing. But anyway, what you can do during this time is, first of all, this time just really requires your resilience and your willingness to honor what you know to be true. Manaz is really saying to just move through this and to be resilient. But like, I think that this process might actually be more pleasurable than, like, it might not feel like you need to be resilient. It might just work with this energy by just continuing to exist and move forward. And with the Four of Wands here, number one, celebrate your wins. Celebrate the changes you do make. Celebrate like anything that is a new choice, or, you know, something that you weren't able to do before that you can do now. I will give myself as an example. I did a yoga video today and I went hard as hell with it. And I remember doing that video in the past, and I had to take a few breaks. I didn't take any breaks this time. And so basically I am like super strong, and it's like really cool. It's really impressive. Like, you don't want to run into me in the street. You're going to be like, whoa, 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 she's strong. Actually, you probably would. She'd be like, whoa, she's strong. I want to hire her to be my bodyguard. I don't know. Also, though, I feel like you are being encouraged to spend more time at home, or spend more time with people, or doing things that give you this feeling of being home. Anywhere where you feel safe, nurtured, relaxed, at peace, warm, loved. That is going to be the best thing for you during this time, because it's going to help, number one, it's going to help you feel good as you make all of these changes. And especially if there are some negative reactions to the changes that you're making, I think that this could be a very calming and soothing thing to do, where, you know, you get that nourishing, loving energy from another person, or from an experience or whatever you're doing, or just feeling safe at home and like just pushing that nonsense away. I feel like that'll be really good. But also this energy is helping you come into union with yourself on a much deeper level. So realistically, like, just go with the flow here and trust what conclusions you come to and what observations you make. You know yourself better than anyone else. Really, this is the time to stop believing that the answers you need are outside of you, and trust that you can navigate your world much more easily than you thought. And you can navigate, and you can manage your needs much more easily than you thought. You can and you can make choices much more easily than you thought that once felt impossible. And like, I will once again give myself an example of that yoga video. I didn't want to do it today. I didn't want to do it. I started the first 2 minutes and then I stopped for like 10 minutes and I just like played The Sims. And then I was like, nah, I'm going to do it. And then I did it. And I did all of it. So, you know, like situations like that where, you know, there's an angel and a devil on your shoulder and you're trying to pick, you know, you might find that even when you don't want to, even when you don't feel like it, you're pushing through and choosing what is best for you anyway. And I think you deserve to celebrate that. And also, if there are others that can encourage and nourish and support the choices that you're making, feel free to include them in these plans or include them in what you're trying to do. Or maybe just let those people or those experiences or, you know, your home serve as a respite from any chaos these changes may create and any uncomfortable experiences that might arise as a result. You know, if you have to like set certain boundaries or make certain changes that might not go over well with others. So let's see where you're being led to as a result of this. So we have the Six of Cups and we have Forgive. This is so beautiful. So first of all, I feel like you are being led back. I feel like you're being led to a place where you are deeply connected to your inner child and it's healed. It's not only healed, but it's part of the conversation now. And if you may not even remember when you were this young, but when you're a really, really young child, you just live and exist and do. Like, there is no thinking before doing. There's just the impulse and the action. And I feel like for you, maybe when you were a child, you got shamed for certain impulses or certain actions that were age appropriate and normal for a child, but for whatever reason, you know, the adult scolding you didn't know that, or just, you know, wasn't maybe a great, maybe they messed up, or, you know, whatever it is. I feel like you are reconnecting to a simplicity and to a level of ease within yourself that you haven't had since you were incredibly young. I also think, though, you're being led to a place where you're a lot gentler with yourself. You're being led to a place of self-forgiveness and reconnecting with yourself in a way where you're recognizing the habits that you picked up on from your painful experiences, from self-loathing, from not feeling good enough, from painful past experiences, things like that, and realizing that you can let go of them, that those beliefs that you cultivated, those behaviors that you used to cope, they don't need to be there anymore, and you can forgive yourself for engaging in them. You can, if it is right and authentic, you can forgive others for their shortcomings, what they didn't have, just so that you can release it for yourself. Forgiveness is for you, but realistically, you're being led to a state of liberation where anything that you've been holding on to that has really held you back in life, or held you back within yourself, or kept you trapped in a way that disempowered you spiritually, disempowered you literally, that made you feel not good enough, or made you feel unworthy, or like you had to seek validation outside of yourself, or show others your value, you're forgiving yourself for that. And really, like, too, I think you are experiencing a deeper level of compassion for yourself, and also you're being led to a place where it will be so much easier for you to make mistakes because you're not beating yourself up for them, and you're also less afraid to make them. I also think as well, you're being led to a place where if you've been trying to manifest like a soulmate or whether platonic, romantic, whatever, you could be in the process of doing that through this, or you could also just be, this could actually also be something that leads you to a process of healing with someone in your life from your past, where maybe they couldn't understand you, or maybe you couldn't understand them, or there were misunderstandings or miscommunications or something like that. Like, there might be the opportunity for closure and release there, or just the opportunity to see the root of certain causes that have made you, that made you believe you were a certain way, or made you believe certain things about yourself, that you realize like, oh, I can forgive them for this experience, or I can forgive myself for believing this about myself, and I can move forward. I really just think you're being led to a lot of emotional healing and release, and moving from a place of trying to avoid and prevent any from feeling or experiencing any painful things, and instead stepping into a place where every part of you is present in this, in life's process, seeing painful experiences for what they are, developing better habits to care and cope with them, to release shame around what you used to do in order to care and cope with them, and be able to release any attachment to anger, frustration, or any negative feelings you don't want to hold on to around sources that caused this. All in all, though, lots and lots of liberation and reconnection to parts of you that maybe you didn't realize were there, or that you forgot existed. This is definitely, you're being led to a place in general where you're just ready to release the past and embrace new and newness in all of its ways. So maybe that's a greater collective energy right now, because this feels like a progressed version of group 1's reading. So that being said, we're just going to get some final guidance for you. So Spirit, what guidance would you like to leave group 2 off with when it comes to their path? Okay, so we have the crane. Oh, yeah, there's soulmate confirmation. Long-term plans, devotion, soulmates. My soul dances with freedom and grace. Cultivate patience and trust in long-term plans and perspective. Sometimes souls with much to offer need more time to marinate and evolve into their true depth and fullness. If you feel like you might be a late bloomer, accept that this can be a wonderful thing. You have the ability to create a beautiful protective legacy for those souls within your care. Affirm your freedom, grace, and dignity above all else. Refuse to be put down by yourself or anyone else. Trust that you can attract and deserve to experience committed, healthy relationships, which I think you are already doing. Your soul dances with freedom and grace. And yeah, that's what's happening. Your soul is learning to dance with freedom and grace, and you're just stepping into a beautiful new level of love and freedom that will just make life and its many surprises and mysteries a whole lot more magical and meaningful to experience. So group 2, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. I really hope this reading made sense and was actually helpful. I guess this was kind of experimental, but if you did enjoy this reading, thank you so much for leaving this video a like, or for letting the ads play in the background for at least the first 30 seconds. Mute it, do something else. I don't expect you to watch them. I'm not a monster, but that does help me so much. So thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out merch, social media, candles, other videos with extendeds. You can share me with a friend. You can just speak goodness into the world. You can send me love. I'm sending you some right back. So that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope these messages resonated and brought you some clarity and peace. I love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Lazurite stone and this card that says Threshold on it, this is going to be your reading on what the F is going on in your life. So, sorry if my voice is a little scratchy. She's not at 100% today, but I'm fine. So let's go ahead and look at your other two cards. Your first one being Threshold. Your other cards are Patience and the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so if you were drawn to any of the other groups, you may want to check that out after you listen to this, because all three groups seem to be interconnected and at different stages of bigger themes. So let's just get into this though. I see that you are at, okay, actually, let's take a step back. Can you apologize to yourself for me? I feel like for some of you here, you've been a little bit extra hard on yourselves, or really just not giving yourselves a break, in the sense of like, you get one thing done and it's like, okay, on to the next thing. You don't really give yourself credit for your endurance, and also your unwillingness to give up. And see, the thing is like, where you are at right now, what's really going on is there's two wolves within you. One wolf is ready to step into a new place in life, and the other wolf very much is not ready for that. And the thing is that both of these wolves have a point. I feel this newness, this new that you could be stepping into, whatever it is. It could be lifestyle, it could be the type of life you feel you should be living. So it could be like every layer, it could be a desire to move, it could be literally anything. This is something that's off in the distant future, and you can see it, but you feel like you should be there already, and you're not. And rather than seeing that as a neutral thing or recognizing the value in where you are presently, you may be struggling with this feeling of being hard on yourself, or feeling like you're somehow failing or falling behind because your mind thinks you should be further along. But with that being said, there's value where you're at right now, and actually what's really going on is you're right where you're supposed to be, but you're feeling likely a lot of tension, frustration, stress, and nerves around your present moment and around where you're at right now, because I think you have likely created an illusion for yourself that you think you need to be further along by now, or that you should have been further along by now, or that you need to just constantly be pushing forward. What's really going on is that wolf inside of you that is saying, hey, we're not ready to take these next steps yet. That wolf is protecting you. And the other wolf is loving you in its own way, because that other wolf, I would say, is the just ambitious part of you, the part of you that wants to do new things, that wants to step into new territories, that wants to explore the unknown, that wants to be and do even more than you already have. That part of your spirit and that part of your mind and your heart, it's always looking to the future. So the thing is that you could be where you think you should be, and you'd still be looking 100 steps ahead. So the part of you that's holding you back, that you might be frustrated with, and you might be like, well, it's my behavior patterns, or, you know, I'm being complacent, or I lack discipline, or whatever explanations you have for why this is the case, ultimately it's serving you at this point, because you don't need to push yourself so hard. And actually, I think there is value in you allowing yourself to just have a sense of stability and consistency before this upcoming change. Because let's be clear, it's still coming. It's just, you don't have to be ready for it tomorrow or initiate it tomorrow. I feel like the universe is kind of, it's like you're in this holding point where, I just got this like visceral flashback to when I was younger. I used to do competitive cheerleading. Shout out to anyone else who did. And if you've done, and I think that this is normal for any sort of like performance or competitive thing. So I'm sure that you could relate in something else that you do. But there's something where in competitions, you might be like when you're warming up back behind where the performance area is, you know, the nerves start building up more and more. And then when you're about to line up, you usually line up, like there might be 3 or 4 teams in front of you. And so then the nerves get really, really, really strong. And then, you know, you're third in line. And so then the announcer's saying super loud, oh, on deck, now your team's being named. But you have this agony of like 6 minutes where 2 other teams have to go in front of you and you're watching them. Do they make mistakes? Like what's going, like there's a lot going on, and it's, I don't know, it's very exciting. And I guess I just wanted to share that because like I haven't even felt that feeling in such a long time. But the reason why it came up is because I feel you can sense this threshold coming closer and closer. And on a spiritual level, your spirit's really excited for it. I think that you're ready to embody and ground a lot of things that you've always envisioned or dreamed of that are finally almost here. And I think there's a lot of nerve, or if not almost here, almost ready to be brought here by you. So it's like there's all these excitement and these nerves, like, am I going to be able to do it? Like, is this going to happen? Is it isn't? And is it not? And I don't even know if that's conscious thought on your part. I think it's more subconscious feeling. I don't even know if it manifests in conscious thought. Maybe it does for some of you and for others it doesn't. But all of that leads to these insane nerves, tension, stress, like feelings where it's really, really hard to be present. It's really hard to see the value in what's happening right now. And if you are struggling to be gentle with yourself about this, it might feel almost kind of hellish. Like you are going a mile a minute and everything else seems to be going as slow as molasses. Or like you are just trying to move things along and it's like the clock is ticking slower and slower. And so what's really happening is the universe is trying to get you to take a step back and recognize the importance of presence, because actually the ability to understand what true presence feels like, which I'm sure all of you know what that feels like, but you may forget to be in that place. It might be easy to fall out of it or forget how much being in that place shifts how you think and how you behave. Being in a place of presence is actually incredibly important for this upcoming threshold that you will be crossing. So you're kind of like a dog on a treadmill and the universe is holding a bone, like a stick with a bone hanging off of it and hanging it so that you keep running. And the point is that you're going to keep running in place until you slow down and kind of take a look and be like, wait a second, I don't need to be in a rush. Oh, this threshold is not really going to happen until I can sit in this place of presence and give myself that time, because this change is going to happen in the perfect time, in the perfect way, and when you are ready for it. I feel like bringing upon, like, there's a reason why even if you try to force yourself to get to a certain point before you're ready, it just doesn't happen. And it's because it's almost like you're protecting yourself without realizing it. Like your inner self is almost just refusing to budge, because it's like, no, we're not ready for this yet, or, you know, stepping into this before we're ready won't won't yield the results we want. And I think like, so really what's going on here is the universe is trying to get you to see that it's totally okay to be where you are at right now. And in fact, being where you're at right now is very necessary in order to getting to where you want to be. And it seems like what's really going on is the universe is trying to show you the value and consistency, stability, and safety in what is, so that you can understand and start to more easily maintain a sense of presence. Because when you are going a mile a minute, or you're constantly looking towards the future, it's very easy to get caught up in that and not be present anymore. So what's going on is that everything is fine. Universally speaking and life path speaking, it's great. I think maybe fine isn't a positive enough adjective, but you may not feel fine because because you are kind of like technically in two different places at once. There's part of you in the future that you're connecting to and that like you can feel, and that is like bringing in this friction that wants to propel you forward. And then this other part of you that's very much in the here and now is like, no, not yet. It's not time. I need more time. I'm not ready yet. And so that push and pull is likely uncomfortable to a certain degree. If you're more sensitive, like it might be literally physically uncomfortable. Like you might feel like a heavy chest, or, you know, palm sweaty, mom spaghetti sort of things. Or if you experience it in a more subtle way, it might just be this like internal tension that lies underneath your chest, where you just feel a little bit frustrated when you notice it, and then that leads to like thinking about where you want to be, and maybe, yeah. So if that resonates, that is what is going on, and we are going to go more deeply into that now. So I am just going to go ahead and shuffle your tarot, and then we are going to get into it. But if you are enjoying this reading, or if you end up enjoying this reading, thank you to everyone who leaves me a little like, and also thank you to everyone who lets the ads play for at least the first 30 seconds. You don't have to watch it. Actually, I hope you don't watch it. Just mute it and do something you do enjoy, but I deeply appreciate everybody who does that. It's super, super helpful for me. But yeah, just grateful that you're here. And that was a really satisfying shuffle, so let's get into it. So first question, why is this happening? Why is group number 3 experiencing two wolves diverging in a sweet pile 3? Okay. What is the deeper purpose of this experience? What is the deeper purpose of pile 3 experiencing this? How can pile 3 work with this energy to their advantage? Okay. And where is pile 3 being led? Okay. Got 2 cards for that one. All right. So first question, why is this happening? We have the Knight of Cups and the bottle. So 1 second. Can we just appreciate? I love this. I am a simple girl. I see Hello Kitty, anything, and I buy. Well, I see Sanrio Universe and I buy. Okay. What is really happening is, or why this is happening, is because the universe wants you to be able to let go a little bit. I feel like there's maybe a lot of pent-up energy that this process has bottled up within you, or this process has created a lot of pent-up energy. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. This is happening because the threshold you are meant to cross, one of the things that you're meant to master before you get there is learning to follow your own emotional flow, and also follow the flow of life. And actually what's really interesting is this Patience card, it shows a turtle, right? And turtles, when they are on land, they can go about 3 to 4 miles per hour. But when they're in water, they can go about 10 to 12 miles per hour. So one of the reasons why this is happening is that the universe is helping you create the circumstances necessary for you to be ready for these next steps, where you are going to move forward more quickly, but the steps that you take are actually going to be more satisfying for you. You're going to question them less, and you're going to be making decisions from a place of presence rather than a place of panic or a place of expectation. I also see here that with this bottle card being here, there's a lot of internal guidance that's trying to speak to you, but I feel it is being bottled up, and it's hard for you to pay attention to it because there are just much louder things going on within you internally right now, like your internal dialogue, or like, you know, those feelings of tension and stress. I feel like that is louder than what helpful guidance might be trying to reach you. So I definitely feel like this process of slowing down is supposed to help you regroup and speed up in the future. But I also think as well, this next phase of life is going to ask you to be not irresponsible or anything like that, but at the very least to be more considerate of your emotional body and of your heart's desires and of your creative pursuits and what feels good for you emotionally, because it seems like whatever this threshold is about, it's going to kind of require that of you. And I feel like, you know, now is a great place to start with that, because it does seem like you are needing some gentleness and some nourishment and and a way to release a lot of tension that you've had built up, and what you do, you know, up to you. But I do think that this is happening to ensure that you see what you need to see, which is that you can actually slow down. You don't have to follow a particular pace. And also, when you bottle your emotions up or bottle up certain energies and things happening within you, it might make it harder for you to listen to yourself or feel confident or trusting just in your path and where you're at, you know, what you're doing. So this is all happening to help you get here and be more relaxed and accepting of what the flow is, and using wherever you are at to your advantage, creating from that place, acting from that place. And also too, one thing that I'm seeing here as well is that you're meant to come from a more creative place than a reactive place, where I feel like right now you might be making choices from this place of, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough, so I need to do extra today. Or it seems like, you know, things are happening and you're making decisions based on that from like a stressful place, from like a panicky place, from like oh, well, this thing didn't happen, so now I have to do this. Whereas I think this is happening to kind of show you, hey, we're fine with where we're at. Actually, can we create something here, or can we make the most of this? Are we recognizing that? Is there something we could be doing that would feel good? Like, if you have this insatiable urge to at least do something, can you do something that like feels good and brings you joy in the moment, that helps you get present, or just be present for a little bit? Or you know, something that or even pay attention to, like, you know, when you're thinking about your future self and where you're going, what are things your future self may not have time to do, or may not be drawn to in the same way anymore? Maybe doing that now could be fun and helpful. But let's see why this is okay, there's always a rogue nipple. Can't escape it. Okay. I mean, they're lovely, don't get me wrong. It just, my corporate overlords would disagree. You know. So we have the World and Feather. So this is all happening to help you be more, what's the right word? To be more flexible, to find a way to move about life more lightly, even when things aren't happening according to your expectations, or you may feel stuck or frustrated with what's occurring. There's definitely an element here where you are meant to lean on faith, and not just faith in something greater than yourself, but faith in yourself as well, around where you're at and around your ability to get you where you need to go in the perfect time, in the perfect way. I also feel that with this World card, interestingly, I feel like one reason why this is happening is that this is all part of a greater process of moving through a deeper spiritual cycle that you've been on. You know, and I do think that this cycle is related to bridging heaven and earth. So coming into deeper union with yourself, where the spiritual parts of you and the earthly parts of you work with more connection and presence to each other, and create a greater space of awareness. But also, I feel like this is happening because you may have this tendency where when you get stuck on something, or really focused or fixed on something, it might be really hard to get out of that. And actually, I think that this energy is meant to help teach you how you can create a sense of lightness, or how you can rise above a feeling of dense stuckness, or something that you may be focusing on that you know isn't helpful and that you don't want to, but you can't seem to stop yourself. This time is meant to help you learn how to, or at least start to learn how to counteract that and create a way to not be, for that to not be like a barrier anymore. I definitely think as well, this is happening because it's meant to, and because it, like I said, it's part of a greater cycle, but also it's happening because you're meant to move about the world in a lighter way than you currently are. If you look at people sometimes and are like, man, I wish I could be that happy, or man, I wish I could be that relaxed and peaceful, you can be. And I would challenge you to really ask yourself, do I believe that I can be that way? Because if you don't believe you can, then you can't. But if you believe that it's maybe possible one day, that's a great start. And I do think that is something where part of what this is meant to do as well is get you to look at this belief that you need to constantly be moving forward. Not to use like therapy speak, I'm not a therapist, but this does, for some of you, this could be like a trauma response where you feel like you need to just be continuously achieving and continuously moving forward. And that if somehow, if you're not being productive, if you're not like continuously, you know, expanding and evolving and growing and pushing yourself to do that, then somehow you're wasting your life, or you're wasting your time, or you know, you're insulting your guides because you're not listening to their guidance. And it's like, okay, first of all, most people don't even know that their guides exist, and that doesn't change anything. Like, their guides still love, help, and support them. And it's the same with you. And part of what you are meant to see here as well is that your worth and your value are not tied to how hard or far you're pushing. And in fact, the belief that you need to be pushing forward in order to be worthy, or pushing yourself, that is part of what is meant to be released here. The universe's love for you, the value that you inherently hold, that does not change whether you are stuck or you are flying forward. And what you're really meant to see here is that the universe doesn't want you to carry so much density because it's not necessary. And in fact, it's holding you back further, and it just keeps you in this stressful position where life is less enjoyable, because you believe that in order for you to just have one, you have to be constantly making the most of it and pushing yourself. And that's just not true, not fair, and not okay to yourself. You deserve so much better than that. And so I really think this is here to help you be gentler with yourself, lighter with yourself, and experience a sense of lightness in terms of maybe for the first time or the first time you can remember in your life, where you stop pushing and start living. I think that's going to feel really good, and I'm excited for you to experience that. So let's see how you can use this energy to your favor. So we have the Six of Cups and we have Yera. So I definitely think that the best way to work with this energy, if you want to be doing work, if you want to be pushing yourself, see what parts of you are screaming for your attention. What I just described, working with that energy might be helpful because I do think it is related to your inner child, but also Yera is all about cycles and timing. And I really think the best way to work with this energy is to just be aware with where you're at and accept that, like, not everyone is in summer all the time. You know, not everyone is in bloom all the time. We have periods of growth, decay, being replanted, being reborn. You know, it's cyclical. And so I think if you get overwhelmed or stressed out or feel like you're never going to get to where you want to be, one of the things that you could do is challenge that by just looking in your past and seeing, okay, where are times where I didn't think I would make it or didn't think that something would ever end and I got through it? Or when have there been times where I thought that I couldn't take a break and then found out later I actually could have and missed out on that? Like, I would pay attention to those things. And also, in general, this does seem to be a time of slowness for you that the universe seems to be encouraging you to take advantage of, where there could be internal things that you're ready to release, you know, energies you're ready to shed, trauma potentially in the body that's ready to be let go of. And this could be a great time to do that, because not only in doing it will it change your behavior and likely make you act in more balanced ways as you step into this new version of yourself, or just this new layer of life that you are going to hit eventually. But also in this future, it seems like you may have less time and energy to devote to such things. So now might actually just be a good time to do that. And I think that if you don't, like, those things will still be lingering and they will be brought to your awareness in the future and will be worked through in time. But it seems like you could work through these things in a more concentrated and quicker way now if you want to. You certainly don't have to. And I think also too, there's an opportunity to just heal, to like reclaim parts of yourself that don't feel safe in the now. I definitely think one of the best things that you can do during this time is just focus on where is my consciousness right now? Is it in the future, the past, or right in front of me? Is it in my body, or is it outside around me somewhere? Is it in my head, or is it spread out? And for all of you, if you if you struggle to be in your body, I would highly recommend trying yoga. Yoga is literally meant to be the union of the body, mind, and spirit. It doesn't need to be this insane physical hardcore thing. It's really just meant to get you connected and, you know, help your body stretch and move and build strength and cohesiveness within you. Lots of free stuff online around that too. So let's see where this time is actually leading you. So we have choice. I don't know if I need to censor this. So we have the devil and death. The devil has an interesting booty. I think it's fine because it's a male devil. Actually, we'll just... yeah, there we go. So where you're headed is a place where breaking free from habits and patterns and things you've been stuck to in the past, things that you've long outgrown, all of that is going to be a lot easier to say no to and release in the future. Mainly because these things just won't feel good. They will bring a level of density that brings you to a place where you're like, oh, I remember being in this. I remember how this feels. I don't like that. And it will be easier to say no. But also, I think that you will take other people's behaviors much less personally, especially behaviors related to endings or unhealthy coping mechanisms, or, you know, just when others, you know, might treat us poorly because they're going through their own things and they're not able to regulate themselves or have the maturity to not take it out on others. I feel like you're going to take a lot less responsibility for the horrors of the world that are beyond your control, and also take a lot less responsibility for potentially, or release responsibility altogether is what you should be doing, around horrific things that were done to you that weren't fair or weren't kind to you, or just that, you know, we're not a reflection of your value, but just we're a reflection of the unwellness of those that treated you that way. I also think, though, that things that once maybe like for example, memories or beliefs, or, you know, just certain influences in your life that you believed like you were powerless to stop, or that would always be there, or that would never change. I think you're realizing like you have a choice in how you engage with certain things, and you're finding the third option. And what I mean by that is you might feel like, you know, there's only being stuck between a rock and a hard place. And then instead you realize, well, maybe I just stay in the middle, or maybe I just move, or maybe I squeeze my way out, or I don't know. All I do know is that you're being led to a place where you move through life taking negative, dense, heavy energy that isn't yours way less personally, seeing it for what it is and not holding on to it, and also not feeling responsible for how other people choose to live their lives and make decisions, because you know it's not related to you. But also in terms of your own decision making, I feel like you're going to be making decisions from a much lighter place. Like, it'll be easier for you to make decisions that are honoring of you. So like, you know, if you have a hard time justifying taking a night off, or you know, spoiling yourself every now and then, you're changing that and realizing like, oh, I can do that. You know, if you've always said, yes, I would like to go to therapy, but it's expensive, and, you know, I should be saving it. Instead, you might be like, well, think about how much money I would make if I, you know, healed certain things. You know, maybe I would just be more consistent, or maybe I would have a more focused mind, and that would help me in interviews, or help me if you work for yourself. Like, you see what I'm saying? There's just kind of these like domino effects here that you're being led to, where you're able to choose things differently and see options that you didn't even realize existed in the past. And also, you're going to find that in general, you are just much less affected by what's going on in the world around you. And that doesn't mean you lack compassion or lack awareness of it. I think that you're still very much rooted in awareness of that. But this is actually a lot healthier. You're not being dragged down by it. You know, that perspective is incredibly important if you are going to do anything helpful and constructive. But also, you know, a lot of the weight of the world isn't yours to carry, and you may not even be able to do anything about it. So this is just helping you free yourself from what you feel chained to that doesn't serve you, that doesn't help you, that's not helping you grow, that's not nourishing to the soul, that's not beneficial to the mind, body, spirit, to your life path, to humanity, period. And giving you the ability to set yourself free. Like, that's really the key theme in all three groups that I've seen, is liberation. Liberation, especially when it comes to the chains that we feel trap us and the beliefs that we feel stuck in. So I love that. It's very, very iconic. So we're just going to go ahead and finish this reading off now with a final guidance card for you, and just see what the universe wants you to know. So for group number 3, Spirit, what guidance do you have for group number 3? We have cicada. We just heard one a little bit earlier. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love when these are so connected. Timing, protection, emergence. My sense of timing is in harmony with the universe. I told you you were behind. You can protect yourself by taking sanctuary in a safe place. This may be an inner place like somewhere within your heart or a time of solitude in nature. Give yourself permission to spend as much time as you need in this safe place, and give yourself permission to stay in this place where you're at as much time as you need. And even though there's a part of you that may not want to stay there, let that part of you yield for once and be accepting of the part of you that needs time and patience and preparation. Healing requires patience. It may seem that your process is taking a long time. You are being reassured that you will reemerge according to a natural divine timing, which is the best timing. You do not need to force anything. Trust that your instincts will guide you forward when the time is right, which is beautiful and basically everything that I was saying. But I feel like this time I maybe added some better extra detail. I don't know though. All I do know is that you're exactly where you need to be and you are doing great. So group 3, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, at least for the first 30 seconds. Like I said, that is just the most helpful and easiest way to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, liking this video, commenting down below, letting me know how it resonates, subscribing if you haven't already, clicking that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading is super helpful as well. You can check out my merch, social media. You can check out my other videos, ones with extendeds. You can check out candles. You can share me with a friend, watch other videos, play my videos while you sleep, let those ads play. You real one if you do that. You can just send me good vibes. I'm definitely sending you lots of love right back because I do love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!